I was talking with Mikhail Dubrowski about like how long is this conflict going to last, and barring a sudden collapse of Russia or a significant threat to the sovereignty of the Ukrainian government, whether that's civil fighting between the different factions within society, which were very fractured before the invasion, or some sort of saboteurs, or Zelensky gets assassinated, barring a rapid collapse, I could see this conflict easily lasting a full year,
Hmm.
or longer. And so under that time frame, I would probably put my number at 12.5% right now. I could be persuaded down to 8%. I could see myself going higher as well. It's a very uncomfortable question, but there are a lot of avenues that lead to it. And in our initial set of forecasts on Russia Ukraine, I sort of ended it like really panicked about like how we were just like nonchalantly escalating the conflict. And I do think the pace at which the West has escalated has cooled off a bit, but the general direction though is still of greater Western involvement. There's been more talk now about Russia making moves in Transnistria, which would get Moldova involved. I am, for instance, worried about China and Taiwan and a whole other set of nuclear flashpoints that exist that, given the war that's going on right now, like if something were to happen between Iran and Israel, the battle lines that would be drawn out would be in part driven by Russia, Ukraine. And so, is a part of that conflict then too.
So just to clarify, when you're saying 8 to 12%, most of that probably, I guess, is the use of a tactical nuclear weapon in the war in Ukraine. I'm imagining, right?
At least happening first, right? Like,
Right. So that's how it starts. Yeah.
that starts using it there. Like, it's more likely to have the nuclear weapon be used in Ukraine, keep the conflict in Ukraine, and sort of force the West to escalate and bring it sort of into a larger conflict than having their first nuclear strike being in Poland or something, or using like a strategic nuclear weapon on London. Because you have to realize, like, none of these leaders want a full-out nuclear war. Like, they live in this world, their kids live in this world. We can't rule out that they want to do that. Like, they very much don't want to get to that place. Whereas tactical nuclear weapons is different. This is something that the US spent a lot of money on in the 50s and 60s. It's something that Russia has kept part of their military doctrine since. So yeah, more on the tactical side. But of course, Russia uses a tactical nuclear weapon, and then that's used as a basis for a no-fly zone. And then, right, you could easily see how that could lead to larger nuclear conflict as well.